I'm Brandon.
And I'm Jesse.
We're Cannabis School. Having cannabis-infused conversations
With everyday people,
cannabis companies,
celebrities,
and your mom.
welcome to the sesh.
We've got a doctor, a nurse, and Jamaican herbalist. They actually wrote a book, and it's called Why We Die, How to Live Beyond Pills, Procedures. It's cannabis and holistic healing. So today we've got Dr. Felicia Dawson, Marilyn Pierce, and Chevanier. It's French. I like that. Sweet. And they are joining us today. They are the writers of this amazing book. So, yeah, we're going to dive into what happens with modern medicine, patient care, and when plant medicine all combine into the same conversation.
Oh, so as that was a really long intro.
Yeah.
I apologize.
We got three people. It's just, we don't normally have three people writing a book together.
Yeah, and kind of give us like a little bit more of the background of each one of you and why you guys intersect and make so much sense together.
Oski, why don't you start us off?
Sure. My cannabis experience is I've been walking with this plant since I've been 11 years old, back in 1991, because my grandfather used to pick it wild from the bush in Jamaica before Prohibition, right? So I have a connection with this plant that goes back before it was even, on the radar of Babylon, them, prison business. Anyways, fast forward, I've been arrested. I got arrested for growing cannabis. My grow operation got raided in 2006. I went to prison for it.
Was that in Jamaica or was that in the
that's
States?
In Miami.
Miami.
I'm actually born in the States. I'm the baby of the family.
Yeah.
So I'm the last one here, and I was the only one of my family born in America. So I'm a real Jamaican, they would call me.
Jamaican.
Jamaican.
Okay, cool.
I like it.
Not Jamaican enough for the Jamaicans, not American enough for Americans. It's somewhere in the middle. Right. So my connection to understanding this plant is one that I when everybody else was terrified of it and not messing with it unless you're part of this community, I've been inside that crowd of it for my entire life, So it's just kind of really, after I got out of prison for growing it, it became legal in Colorado first, and then started going over the country. And when I got out of prison, it's crazy because my family, although they all know about it and have their experiences with it throughout their life, it's very stigmatized and feared in Jamaica as well, because of the legalities behind it. And especially when it comes to immigrant families, it's like, yo, don't mess with that junk. You go to jail, And I just, of course, never listened to it and followed under the footsteps of my Rastafarian family members. And, my father passed when I was very young, of prostate cancer. So when I was 14 years old, so right when he started dying is kind of when I started getting influenced by other things outside of my house, my direct household, my other cousins and uncles, and people that were in our neighborhood that were the Rastafarian community. And that's kind of how I got raised up after my father passed, like how to move ganja and just
survive,
knowing of it, growing it. We were growing it when we were kids, just propagating seeds around the park where we stayed at. Ended up growing it in pots, and as it became popular, the big boom in Miami, as Miami and Florida is kind of like just like California in some aspects. We were the pioneers of that space right there, the indoor grow operation space.
How big was your grow when you got busted?
I had a 4-room grow, 16 liter, about decent amount. I got my charge was 121 pounds, but I got charged for 20,000 pounds because that's what they came for. But because that's what they said I came for, they charged with that. So if you look at my charge, it says 10 tons, but it wasn't 10 tons.
Oh my gosh.
It was 121 pounds.
Oski, how long was that prison sentence? That sounds horrendous.
Oh yeah, that was 18 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least
I fought it real hard for 2 years. No, I got.
Jeez.
That's called beating it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it was
beat them at their own game.
No, for sure. I had got a lawyer that was down with the judge. My family set that through, and most of the case was done just like I walked in the courtroom. So I had to fight it for 2 years and went through the processes. Apparently, some of the ganja had been taken from my grow or my evidence and used somewhere else, another county, like that. So I think
For
that gave
other
them some
evidence
leverage
for
as
a
well.
different thing?
Something like that. Something weird. Like when they went to go draw the material out, when our lawyers went to draw, they're like, "Oh, we don't have it. It's in Dade." And they were like,
Hmm.
"What?" Like, so just
Gotta
that
love the
because
legal
and
system.
besides the main thing
Miami
that it
drug enforcement's horrible.
was the judge and my lawyer were like this. I got a lawyer who wasn't even a drug lawyer. He was literally a civil rights lawyer. He was the lawyer who desegregated schools in Broward County. Actually,
Oh, wow.
was
That's
in the
cool.
system, in the
Yeah.
legal system, under the she's a lawyer herself, and knew him
Who'd-
personally to get him because of the
Mhm.
judge. The judge was a
Ah.
dude who was definitely known for hanging people. He was not a plaything. So
Dude,
he
you
would
got
definitely hand it
lucky.
out.
That was a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
find to get that attorney.
yeah,
No,
for
Yeah.
sure,
meant to
for
be.
sure, for
Jeez.
sure.
It is all who you know, or like,
100%.
it's crazy. Yeah.
It's not even
Absolutely,
what you can prove. It's who
absolutely.
you know.
No, straight up. It's all about that. Like when we went to the courtroom, they would just talk like friends. Hey,
Yep.
see you at the Christmas dinner, and we get out, reschedule the
And
next
the-
date, and that was it.
The other lawyer, like, shit.
Yeah, and you're like, this is the weirdest court thing I've ever had. Like, what? This
Right,
wasn't
right.
on
She
like
was in the
Oprah.
courtroom like,
That was the feeling of the other lawyer, though. That must have
oh
Yeah.
yeah, the public defender. Oh, they hated it. Oh,
the public pretender.
oh.
Nice.
Not the public defender. Sorry, the state prosecutor.
Oh,
Yeah.
state
The
prosecutor.
state
Yeah.
prosecutor she
District attorney.
hated it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh,
those
my
state
goodness.
prosecutors always look like they got like a little dribble of blood on the corner of
Yeah.
their mouth all the time, right? You're just like, yeah, not everybody needs to be your prey. Calm down.
Right. They did not like it at all. Like they would just pretty much get shut down, told to be quiet in the corner. It was
Oh, that's awesome.
so it was a good thing. The worst part about it was that my now wife was with me in the grow, and she had to do time as well. So she got 15 months and I got 18 months. So that was really like the
Yeah.
I tell you guys, I'm like I said, I was walking with this plant and moving this plant my entire life. So I expected this. I'm not from the era where I didn't
Yeah.
know this was illegal. I didn't know it was gonna happen. You know?
What do you
My
mean I
crew-
can't do this?
yeah, so I knew that I was eventually gonna, hope. I didn't know it was gonna be going down for growing because I had always, moved, bales and stuff like that, like, breaking down
Yeah.
material from other places, Texas, Jamaica. It wasn't like I was growing it. So when I started growing it, the way you had to operate to grow was so out the way. You know, I would leave the house looking like I'm going to business meetings, briefcase, square toes. It
Yeah.
was I was looking in my, like when they hit my girl, the neighborhood was like, what? They had no idea, so you really keep yourself you have a certain composure. You look like you're a businessman when you're growing back in them days so that you wouldn't call attention to yourself in a city that everybody deals drugs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's
So
a
you
vibe and
definitely
it's a
have to-
look usually. So if you're not,
Right.
Yeah, but
So you're
there's a
looking like you're
there's a respect to it too, though.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you really took yourself very serious on that one. It wasn't like you were just scheming and trying
No.
to sell some nasty weed. You're just like you
No.
cared about what you were doing.
Right, for sure. And I mean, to be fair, we didn't know back then about organic grows. Like we did when it comes to indoor hydroponic grows.
yeah.
Oh
So we used nutrients. It wasn't organic. You know what I'm saying? We're using pink and green. It wasn't like we knew better.
Yeah.
We definitely had, high quality herb. We flushed well. We did what we knew, the best we knew. Now,
Yeah.
my
Well,
boys
it's
who
the
were
product
still
at
in
the
it-
time. Every
Right,
time
right.
education as it continues and
Yeah.
the
Gets better
community
and better.
knowledge is
Right.
incredible in cannabis because it's like one person has done this, but then someone else has done this, and someone else took
Right.
that concept and did this with it. And so it's like there's such like partialized knowledge all the way across the industry that you meet one person and they gather like so much data and you're like, holy shit, I just learned what? You go talk to
Right.
someone else and it's the same thing. You learn
I
all
grew
of
up
these.
with
Go ahead.
organic growing too, so it wasn't like I didn't know about it.
Yeah,
Just when it came to like mass production, there was just a protocol
for
that
that.
we followed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Well,
anyhow, that's kind of my story.
Yeah,
And then
that's-
so that led into when I got out of prison, my family, like I said, were terrified that they're like, okay, now that you went to prison for it, this must be when you're gonna leave the planet. Like you're never gonna mess with this again, right?
Yeah,
And
you learned your lesson.
right? You learned like you just escaped. There, my charge was, I was facing 30 years to life. Like the prosecutor the first thing she asked me when I first came to court my first time was like, "Would you take 30?" And I was like, or she asked before I had my lawyer on,
What?
my public defender what happened before I put my lawyer on was like, "Would you take 30?" And I was like, "Just send me back to my cell, man."
Yeah, right?
I'll be back later with a lawyer. Like let's not even talk about that.
Yeah.
So
What?
that's beating up, and there was firearms in the house too. So it was an
Oh.
armed trafficking
Yeah.
by life offense, you know. So it was a big, huge charge I beat. And when I got out, I was definitely worn out. Like I had to fight it for 2 years out on pretrial with all the police in my area knew who I was and knew what I did. So it was like I'll get pulled over on the way, leaving the house and coming back. Like it was
Yeah.
really, really super stressful and crazy. Just
How
fighting the
long was
charges
it?
was harder than doing the time.
How long before you touched cannabis again after that?
Well, I had 4 years probation when I got out, and when I got out, I was like, "Yeah, I'm done." You know, I really didn't have any more taste in my mouth. For I had been. This is when I got the charge when I was 26. I went in when I was 30, came out when I was like 32. So I was already like at the end of my wits. When you walk with this plant during prohibition for your entire life, you have a great deal of PTSD, right?
Yeah.
Like just in general, like just the way that we lived. And I didn't even know my normal way of life was one of
Constant state of
PTSD,
fear.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that I had that. So I got out properly and I was like, just kind of shook. And it took me a while to realize how scarred I was from living a life like that.
Is
And
that a
then
form of CPTSD? Do you think?
what's CPTSD now? Sorry,
It's
the
so it's usually like a continuous post, like so someone who has had the same type of reoccurring situation or thing that's happening that's causing this PTSD. So that continuous fear of always having that plant for so long, I would think might be a form of CPTSD, which might, I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's it's definitely the way that it took me. I still now move like I still have the same anxieties at times, like I'm moving the plant and I don't, you know,
Yeah.
like I'm always watching for police. Any car comes around, like always there's a constant. My brain was wired to run. It's
Yeah.
not gone, you know. I'm running
It's
around with
hard.
groceries and it feels like I have bags in the back, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I
So
have this terrifying fear of cops, even if I don't have any cannabis with me in the car, even in a locked thing. Like, if I'm cruising, my mind is always just constantly like, where's the cop? Where's the cop? Like, it's this weird thing that you're just like, I don't
right.
know if it ever fully goes away.
For sure. Definitely not
Sure, I want to say,
raised
Brandon,
in
I'm not
like
sure
in
why you looking over your shoulder, but I know for Black men, for me, I have a theory about why Black men run when they are encountering the police, and I feel that there's some ancestral epigenetic passage of running from the slave patrol that has been passed down, and it keeps getting propagated because of Reconstruction and the police killings and all that. It just keeps getting propagated onto the DNA of Black men and Black people. That's my theory. I'm thinking that they run because it's in the genes that
Yeah.
only bad things happen.
Well,
Yeah.
When
yeah.
Black men
And that's
encounter
most of my interactions with police officers
Has
have
never
never
been
been
good.
good.
He's,
All of them have been
he
shit.
has been extremely unlucky.
I have gone to jail for shit that I shouldn't have. I have had
Yeah.
6 ARs pointed at my face. Like, I don't have good interactions with police officers.
He's been in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I don't ever feel safe around them.
See, and the difference is I grew up Hispanic here in Utah during a time there was a lot of racism towards Hispanics here in Utah at the time. And I've been in handcuffs a ton of times, but always let go. Always let go. I had always had really good interactions with police officers because I always tried to make everybody my friend anyway. So every cop like, hey, what's going on? And so
I
every
always
time
tried to be super
I
polite.
get put in cuffs. Yeah, I don't know. Brandon always has like the worst luck with cops.
Crazy.
So I understand where his position is, and I understand exactly what you were stating there. Like, it's
not the same level.
Well, no. I mean, it's not even that. You can understand it because, as you stated, it's epigenetic. So it's not necessarily as something like, hey, you just it's okay. It was back then. Like there is ancestral DNA that dictates the behaviors that we have that go deep into the genes, as you stated. It's
Very true.
amazing, and it's also extremely scarring to peel that onion and to kind of take a look into that.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That is a really good point.
Dr. Dawson, when was the first time, I mean, you spent decades in traditional medicine. When was the first time that cannabis crossed your radar as something that you just couldn't like dismiss anymore?
Well, the first time it crossed my radar was as a senior in high school when some of my friends in my class, we decided not to go to class and they pulled out a joint and offered it to me. And I was like, what is this? I just thought it was a cigarette. And they said, so it's a joint, weed. I said, okay. They said, we assume you did it. I said, no, 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 no. So that was my first experience. And I didn't, well, yeah, I messed with it a little bit more at first year of college. Then I had a religious conversion, became Muslim. So I didn't do anything for a long time.
Are you
But
still Muslim? Do you find that, or I guess, can I ask a question? Is there a subset of Muslim religion that use cannabis or it's acceptable in any sort of fashion?
I am aware that there are some Muslims who use cannabis. It depends on
Afghanistan.
who
Think about that,
who you
sister.
who you who you talk
Mm.
to.
Okay, yeah.
I remember,
So maybe certain subsets.
Right, right.
some people, because in the Quran it says, don't use intoxicants, and some people say
View
whatever
it as.
can alter your mind you should stay away from. And I was getting into a little discussion on LinkedIn with someone who said that when you look at the translation, it's more to do with wine than cannabis or something to that effect. So, so that's the reason why I didn't mess with it for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I got reintroduced to it with Dr. Sanjay Gupta and his weed documentaries. That's how I started getting into it, because as a physician and obstetrician, sometimes women would say, yeah, I use a little bit of weed sometimes, but I can tell you as an OBGYN, we were not really that phased about it. We never thought that much about cannabis use, really. So I'm tripping on how people are like going crazy about it. But we, as an OB, we never really thought that much about it. Like it was that horrible. We might tell them, you might want to stop that, but it wasn't like, oh, I need to report you to the police or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. But and so I'm like, when I look at the research now, it's way over the top. So as I was becoming disenchanted with the business of medicine, I love talking to people and helping them to manage their health. But the business of medicine was really wearing me down. So I was so grateful to start hearing about cannabis and getting excited about it and all the different aspects of it. And that's kind of how I got into it. I closed my practice in 2016, and I've been focusing 100% on trying to educate physicians and healthcare workers and the general public about cannabis as medicine. Because, like, for instance, when I found that the government had a patent, I'm like, what? You know, this is
Yeah.
so hypocritical. This is so hypocritical. And
Yeah.
they're constantly still doing that. So, I think I met Oski at a party with
Yeah,
a
yeah.
physician house, and we kind of connected that way. And I was putting on a screening, a documentary, The Women of Weed or something like that. I can't remember what it was now, but I met Marilyn because she reached out to me on IG, and we both kind of screened the film together. And that's how I met each of them individually, actually. And then I think then Oski brought us together. And Marilyn, what's your recollection?
Yeah, Oski kind of was the bridge. Again, we did meet on the screening. I was co-producing a radio show, an internet radio show at the time. It was live every week, and that's how in 2018 I got reintroduced to cannabis. I did it as a kid. We used to sell it to smoke it, and when I was in my early 20s, I went to school for nursing and dropped it because I mean, if you get busted, if somebody else on the floor got busted for stealing drugs, everybody got tested. And then so I just stayed the heck away from it because
Yeah.
it was my
Yeah.
livelihood, it was everything. But in 2018 on this radio show, we interviewed this physician who knows both Oski and Doc, and they were outside before the show getting ready, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm a nurse. I know all about this. I know what they're doing. That's not medicine, whatever. But when I heard his story, and he had he had broken his neck and he almost lost his practice and his life. He was depressed. He was about to, thinking of suicide. And then he tried medical cannabis and his life changed and he was cured and he did well. And my lights started going off. I said, what the heck is this? I thought that I knew something and I didn't know anything and something's been kept from me. So as a nurse, I began to look into it. He knew Oski knew Doc, and that's how I reached out to Doc. And so we ended up back in the 2018, 2019 time, getting to know each other through the cannabis space. And I've been researching and studying. And just so you know, nurses are people that you can talk to in healthcare, generally speaking, but nurses don't know about cannabis, except the profession of nursing at the end of 2024, December of 2024, declared cannabis as a nursing specialty, just like you can be a nursing specialist in oncology or hospice or something else. Nurses have a specialty in their profession for cannabis. They are building the board certification now. It's going through the American Cannabis Nurses Association. So nurses are in a more...
So they have the educational platform already designed for them, then, it sounds like.
It's slow going, but there are a lot of cannabis nurses out there. And,
hell yeah.
The American Nurses Association recognized cannabis as a specialty. So, and that represents 7 million nurses, and it's our political and professional representation.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it rocks. I'm grateful for that, and I'm glad to have gotten in early and learned what I learned, because we're told something different in healthcare. We're told that it's a drug, that it's Schedule 1, and it's a gateway, and all these things that they teach you. And I knew it wasn't true, but I didn't realize how medicinal it was.
Yeah.
I didn't realize what it could do for people. And the more I learned and the more I heard, I just had to know more, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to keep on learning and to teach others.
So, are you able to consume cannabis as a nurse in your state?
No, it's illegal.
Okay. That's kind of what I want.
You have to have a medical card, and you have to have one of the listed medical issues.
Yeah.
And so
legally, if you had a qualifying condition in your state as a nurse, could you?
I certainly could, but if the policies within all of the healthcare systems say that you can't, then you can still get busted and you can still get fired.
Yeah, that's my sister's a nurse. And...
yeah, Georgia's a right to work state. Your employer can fire you for any reason. So
same with Utah.
That's why you got to get this.
Yeah, that's why we've got this testing buddy that they send out. It's our number one testing buddy in the world, and it's Synthetics 5. And it really, when you're really just struggling with passing a test,
so
it just helps you pass those tests. It's amazing.
Funny story. I am in the professional world. I'm a benefits consultant for corporations. So I talk about employee benefits, and I thought I had to pass a piss test in order to get the job. And so I reached out to this company, and I'm like, "Hey, you want to be on our show? And send me a sample." And this is pretty cool. It heats up on its own, and it's guaranteed to pass. These guys are amazing. They manufacture it out of Idaho, which doesn't allow cannabis at all.
No, not
at all. So, I mean,
how do you sneak that into a drug test?
Whatever. Let me show you. Okay.
They have 2 different styles that they've sent us.
So they have one where here's the bladder, has to heat up to about 100 degrees. Here's the belt that you feed in through each of the sides, and then there's a hot pad that you put it between you and that, and then it'll stay at the temperature for 8 hours, and then you have this medical tubing where you can
spike the bag.
Yep. Yeah.
Spike the bag like it's IV.
Exactly. So then you just let that go out. And so, it was funny when I reached out to him, I was like, "Who's your number one customer?" Because I'm a marketing guy all the time. I'm like, "Who do you sell to?" And he's like, government and heavy machine operators is a big market for us. But we saw that there was a lot of professionals that are just like, hey, this is an awesome thing. They gave us like a forever coupon, pretty much like a code. They're like, hey, you guys can give 25% off for everybody who uses it. And it's been cool. We just loved, we don't get anything out of it other than we get to help people, there's
pass their tests, because
Yeah,
sometimes they just struggle studying.
you shouldn't have to. Yeah.
Do you have to keep it refrigerated?
No,
I don't think so.
nope.
And they have a smaller one too. I think it's on the side there. Have you ever seen the little applesauce packets that you twist off the top? Oh, there you go. That big.
And then there's a little pouch.
And the heater's on the back attached to it. And it does the same thing. You just twist off the top, squeeze it out, and that's it.
Yeah, more for like those construction jobs or whatever. You can just put it
where
into
there's someone in your room staring at you. Or,
yeah, it's not
like,
the only.
It's not going for probation where they're looking at you.
No.
Nope.
That's
Not
the
gonna.
weird stuff.
I've done drug testing as a nurse when I worked we used to do pre-employment
Yeah.
physicals, and I'd have to go in, tape up and they tape up all of the toilet and everything, so you couldn't get anything out of the water, and then they had to go in with nothing but a gown on. So it's not going to work for everybody, but it's good to know that option is
That's
out
crazy
there.
because I don't see that kind of testing as much anymore.
It was Siemens, SIEMENS. Which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the
I know you're talking
technology
about.
company. Yeah.
That's super invasive for a job. I never.
Yeah.
That's like
I guess
probation stuff.
people knew how to overcome
Every
it.
job
used
one
to
I've
have
done,
That must be.
I've been alone in the room.
There was some Benjamins being moved to them. I mean, it's going to be a $300,000 job. Yeah, what do you want me to do? I'll get in that gown. Thank you.
Right.
No problem.
Yeah.
Depending upon the
But
money.
that's really cool to know that product exists. I've seen people use other products, but that seems like the perfect package with the heat and the convenience and the ability to be subtle
Discreet. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
They got the little fake wee.
Yeah, that's the other one. You could keep it right next to it.
It just has your little hose at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't look like a wiener.
Have like a little fake penis.
No.
Oh, really?
That would be
called
funny.
the Wizinator.
They're like,
They did
wait,
different colors and everything.
do you identify as male? I still go by Rob.
Turkey.
That'd be super weird. All right, so
So let's go into the book. If you were to give like a 50,000 view of this, what would you say encapsulates the entire book?
Go for it, Doc. She's good at it. She says it well.
I figured.
I it was going to be a master class, and then the pandemic happened, so we decided to put it in a book, and it's a book that combines evidence-based holistic therapeutics and cannabis and botanicals to treat the top 10 causes of death in America. And these diseases, the top three sort of stay the same, heart disease, cancer, and accidents, but right below that, I believe, was stroke. It kind of stays the same. COVID jumped up in there for a hot second, but it's interesting to know that there's other ways to handle things besides pharmaceuticals and surgery. And most people don't know that. And I will have to say from experience, most people don't have the time or discipline or desire to be consistent and let plant medicine take its time to heal you and these other therapeutics, because it's not as quick as surgery or a pharmaceutical. So you have to be motivated. But it's our kind of our gift to the world. So there's another way to do this. And right now, our healthcare system, especially in America, is broken. It not only disrespects and treats patients poorly, it does the same thing to providers. I was speaking to someone who's trying to make the whole healthcare system better, and I didn't realize that they had officially put physicians in this loop with things that need to change, because there's like the physicians and the healthcare providers and the patients are being dogged out. And the book talks about what we can do as individuals to not only improve our health, but to improve our healthcare system, to hold our politicians accountable, to hold healthcare providers accountable, to give us the care that we deserve.
Here. And if I might add to that Dr. Felicia is also, besides being board certified in OBGYN, she is trained in holistic and functional medicine. And she provided for us the holistic pathway to health and healing, which is a set of standards that one should, or a set of things that one should identify within your life, sleep and exercise and movement and your community. There's 13 of them.
Lifestyle practices as well
Lifestyle
as
practices. And we used that as a framework for how you can prevent and treat those top 10. Well, it's 9 because one of them's accidents. So the diseases in our
That would be cool.
society that kill
Cannabis
us.
prevents accidents. That would be
Yeah,
pretty cool, right?
it probably does.
Yeah.
Although that's not what.
Well, it
You
does.
know what?
How many
Actually,
people smoke and then they're like, oh shit, no, I shouldn't get behind the wheel. I should stay home.
Yeah.
you
Well, you were going to
actually,
say something, doctor.
Yeah, Dr. Dustin Sulak. I was listening to one of his talks, and they were comparing a THC dominant product versus one that had CBD in it, and high CBD in it, and the CBD was interfering with the metabolism of the THC, and so the people with the CBD actually felt a little more high than the people with the THC dominant, and the THC dominant people drove more cautiously in this driving performance simulator. The THC dominant people were more cautious, but the people who had the CBD on board didn't realize how high they were, so they actually drove worse than the people in the
Interesting.
THC dominant. So it is interesting because you always think that adding CBD would,
I
so
think
I
it's
see
dose
things,
dependent though.
yeah,
Because
it must be because,
isn't it supposed to
yeah.
be 9 parts CBD to
absolutely.
1 part THC is what's supposed to counterbalance that attachment to the CB like receptors?
Oh, it's a specific ratio,
Yeah, it's
but
just like a
you
very
see you
high
see different things. You see
Yeah.
dose.
different things
Yeah,
in
and
the
it depends on
literature.
the
depends
Uh,
also
product as
the
well.
individual. It
yeah.
depends on the product, the dose, the individual, most of
Yeah.
all, because every individual is different.
Even the
And what was their
setting.
day
Yeah.
or food or
Right.
so
You
much
know,
goes
I,
into that.
I
The
have an
tolerance
interesting
level.
I have an interesting question for you, doctor. Since you mentioned functional medicine, I had the pleasure of being able to work with a functional medicine clinic for about a year, helping them to train their people in communication with patients. But one of the things that I recently talked about, you said that being able to, do you treat functional medicine? I mean, well, let's say like POTS, someone who has POTS. Do you have protocols for cannabis use with POTS?
And postural orthostatic.
The one that's
Um,
after COVID, the long COVID
Yes.
POTS.
Yeah, the
I don't have a protocol. I've never really been a protocol person per se. I try to treat each person individually and get to the cause of their
of course.
symptoms.
You
But
noticed any commonalities?
yeah. I mean, it's detoxification, cleaning up the diet, those kind of things. Because like with the after COVID thing is the theory is mitochondrial dysfunction is what they think.
Oh,
And interestingly, the mitochondria has a lot of cannabinoid receptors on it, especially in the liver and the heart. So I would think it would be helpful. I mean, cannabis. I mean, I was listening to a guy who's been like the master gardener at some botanical garden, and he said cannabis is definitely the most fascinating, intriguing plant he's ever come across. It
yeah.
really is an amazing plant.
Wow.
I just saw a video this morning. My girlfriend had sent it to me, and it was this lady talking about endometriosis and cannabis, and that women with endometriosis actually have a higher rate of endocannabinoids produced in their liver and in their blood, supposedly, but yet a lower attachment to the receptors in that section from endocannabinoid or phytocannabinoid endocannabinoids, but that plant produced cannabinoids introduced into it or binding more to those receptors and making the pain go away more. And because I thought it was kind of interesting when I was seeing the video and it was saying, hey, that this would have more endocannabinoids in there. And I'm like, well, that would make sense because your body's trying to heal itself or trying to help. So it's producing this to help your body alleviate pain or heal itself. But I just wondered if you guys knew anything or like had any insight into maybe why a plant produced cannabinoid might bind better or cause a deeper effect in like pain relief or
Well,
something in a attachment to a receptor.
well, endometriosis is one of those clinical endocannabinoid deficiency
That's what
syndromes
I was
that,
gonna say. Like I was put
yeah,
those on the list.
IBS, endometriosis, autism, they are all endocannabinoid deficient states, and that is why cannabis helps in those conditions.
So
There's
autism is cannabis deficient as well. What is the
yes,
typical cannabis? I mean, it's obviously probably patient deficient. are patient specific.
There's CB1 in autism because I just came across this in my writing my next book. It's in autism, they're anandamide, PEA, OEA, which are two minor endocannabinoids,
Yeah.
and cannabinoid 1 receptors are all deficient. Their CB2 quantity is elevated, and that's a lot of times when your body's trying to fight off infection or inflammation, your
Yeah.
body will make more CB2 receptors, or they'll come up to the surface more. Same thing when there's like damage into the brain, CB2, more CB2 receptors pop up to try to help with the inflammation.
Do you find that THC is effective with autism, and or is it mostly like microdosing and other cannabinoids that's
In autism, and
or
Dr.
it's,
Bonnie Goldstein is the guru on that, but you have everybody's different. I mean,
Yeah.
she has some
yeah,
patients who are just on THC dominant stuff. She has some people who are just on CBD, CBG,
yeah.
whole spectrum. It's like she has patients all over the
Well, and it
spectrum in
is
terms of
that makes
what they
sense.
require.
It is such
But
a broad spectrum too.
yeah, but
It's
it
an
helps.
individualization thing.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a
It
commercial
still helps them.
product.
It still helps them to get more closer to their biomarkers to come more closer to normal.
Yeah, to where they
Right.
feel normal.
They can become
Yeah.
more verbal, less violent, more sociable.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially where you're looking at like, I mean, and you got to have a physician, a doctor working with a medical staff, period, that really are understanding of cannabis to be able to guide them through that because there's a lot of reporting, a lot of touch points to make sure, how you're titrating it, whatever is going through that treatment cycle and understanding what's going to work with them. But very much so, like it would be easy to say like, hey, what's the best mix, doc? Tell us, do I use this strain or that strain? And you're like, follow the terpenes first, understanding those to be able to go, okay, in the past, because that's how you're practicing medicine. You're like, this has worked for these symptoms. We'll try this, and then you tweak it to it gets to the right point. So that's and saying that it's almost like correct me if I'm wrong from hearing this, but it's almost like you stated that autism is a form of inflammation.
Yeah, inflammation of the brain, the gut. So a lot of times cannabis and cleaning up the diet can help with autism a lot. And there's a spectrum. You have
Yeah.
some people with autism who have a high IQ, very high functioning. So it's not all,
Yeah.
antisocial into
Of
themselves.
course.
It's all over the place.
No, I have two sons on the spectrum, and my wife works for a school that it's called Spectrum Academy. It's K through 12, but cannabis. Well, I almost said cannabis-related school, right? Autism. Yeah, it's the only cannabis elementary school out there.
Your kids are high all day long.
Yeah.
They're so cool. Teachers have no issues.
Yeah,
Teachers are also
we
high.
just kind of pump in this fog every once in a while, and everybody calms down, and then we bring in snacks.
15-minute happy break.
Yeah. No, but to go back, I that makes so much sense, and especially being involved within the autism community as long as we have. Our sons are 16, and I've pondered that a lot, and it's difficult to find a doctor here that when I'm talking to. Well, no, it's kind of funny because I'll introduce myself of what I already know, and then I'll be like, "What's your recommendation?" And they always go, "What would you recommend?" And I'm like, "Okay, I understand where you're coming from," but he's like, "No, really, I have like no education in this. They don't provide it openly. You've got to seek it out." And he's like, "And I'm already doing all these other things." I'm like, "You really should look at this for your practice." I mean, Utah, what's great about Utah is they permit it for autism, for treatment of autism and working with a clinician, but it's hard to find a clinician that is this open. Are you seeing more clinicians, as you stated before, but actively getting involved like you?
Yeah. Yeah, I just had someone who's like, I want another GYN who I guess getting out of GYN or something, and said, "Can you teach me about the strains?" I said, "Well, the strains is like old terminology. Strains can vary from geographical location to geographical location. You need to know exactly what cannabinoids and terpenes are in it. So we don't, it's more like chemotypes." And I was trying to tell her that and, point her to the direction where she can learn, the real thing, or learn good information.
So in this book, any layperson, they're going to be able to get a pretty comprehensive yet easy to digest information. As you said, this isn't like a book that you read cover to cover, right? This is something
a
Yeah,
la
like,
it'll
carte almost.
take a minute, but the book
Yeah.
contains pretty much a cannabis primer in it. I mean, we can talk about the history of cannabis in it,
that's
the
cool.
delivery methods, some of the minor cannabinoids. We even talk about pipes and stuff.
Lovely.
It's
The ways in every one of those conditions that it has been used, proven by research, and also like from ancestral and ancient, you know, usage as well.
Oh my goodness.
And
You
Brandon,
have
you would
this book?
appreciate this.
I need
I
this
do.
book.
Yeah, I downloaded it. That's why I was really excited. Because
need
I was
this.
like, oh, I read the Oaksterdam Growers Handbook, like university handbook, just like a book because of
Because
we
you
were
read
vested
books.
in that,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
curious. And
No,
so,
I love it from that standpoint because it truly is a textbook more than it would be that where you are. It's not something to read and put it back on the shelf next to Stephen King or whatever thing you bought from the supermarket,
Yeah.
to keep yourself slightly entertained, I guess. And you put it over there. No, this is something like you said. You're gonna dog ear it. You're gonna mark it. Because it's almost like a recipe book, if you will. This is gonna be
Right.
sitting right in your kitchen.
And it's a la
I,
carte. There's different, you can
and
use
I,
to your
I'm
condition.
and working with Doc, she would not allow us to put anything in there unless
Absolutely
it
not.
was straight from PubMed. And we have like 75 pages of our citations for everything that
That's
we spoke
awesome.
of for each of so there's everything in there is either noted to be personal experience or cited with evidence that is valid
source, and you can check
and
it.
source, right. So it was hard to find some of that evidence because cannabis is not well researched here in this country.
Yeah.
So we had to go, we worked hard to find the evidence for how to heal and prevent these diseases using all kinds of methods, including botanicals and cannabis as well.
Where was the weirdest spot that you found data on that? You said US, obviously, we don't have a lot of data and research that we do ourselves.
Well, that is
in that
Doc
area.
allowed what Doc did allow outside of the PubMed research was the historical and ancestral uses
cool.
that could be proven. So I pulled a lot of stuff out of what I knew my ancestors and my families from Jamaica, and
Yeah.
then went further from like the cultures that have cannabis medicine in their culture for millennia. Your the Eastern Indians, the Chinese, the African. So we went and looked beyond what medical research in America has in it because it's very thin and especially it's just getting some in the last couple of years. The other last research for the last 100 years has been done to demonize it, and when they
Yeah.
find something out proper, they just shut it off. So we could go with what we had recent, but what Doc allowed outside of PubMed research was its historical and ancient uses that have been written down in these scrolls of medicine before the Rockefellers took over.
Well, Oski, I guess for everyone at home, what makes cannabis more unique than any other plant?
Well, for one, it's a one size fits all. Like because it has so many of the no other plant has the amount of different chemical compounds and chemicals in it that are medicinal at one time. It's got medicinal compounds that almost every other herb has in it as already. So in that being said, because it's got hundreds of different individual chemicals and thousands of different combinations of those chemicals, that's why it can treat each individual individually. But the way that I have been using it, and that's kind of what got my family on board with it back again, because I realized I had to come back at this plant, understand it for its medicine. I understand how my grandfather used it when he picked it from the bush while before Prohibition. I understand its real use and its medicinal use, and that's how my family would accept it again, right? So what I've realized is I like to call it cannabinoid manipulation because, as you know, cannabis, even THC, for example, starts out as CBG, turns into THC, turns into CBN, cannabinoids are constantly changing and morphing, and each person is an individual. So how I can manipulate these cannabinoids to treat you is different than how I manipulate it to treat him, and it's how I manipulate it to treat myself, right?
Mm.
So these
Yeah.
different aspects of cannabis, it being able to treat each individual by manipulating it to them directly and specifically is what makes it, like, the water, the most important plant probably out of them all. And then of course the endogenous cannabinoid system, which is mean like we have a DNA match to this plant. It's going to whatever we're trying to treat and heal. And I like to use Dr. Uma's description of this. It's like the base of all holistic medicine. If I'm making a something for diabetes, and I'm trying to give someone to get their blood sugar regulated, and I'm using insulin plant and beet and these things. If I add cannabis to that, it's going to enhance that endogenous cannabinoid system and get the body into the mode where it's at its highest healing power capacity. So in herbalism, if it's used as a base, it can just be added to other herbal concoctions, just as a small amount, just to turn on the endogenous cannabinoid system and have us at our full healing capacity. And that's kind of what makes it probably the most powerful plant that there is, because it can make everything work its best.
That actually
And
is a really good explanation. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. The way you just described, you blew my mind. One, that was the best way to hear it described, of how it is literally like you take it from chemistry to alchemy almost, where you're transfiguring and multiplying, and you're just enhancing. We've always called it that. It's an enhancer. That when I hear parents tell me, I don't want my kid doing that, I totally understand. Are they a lazy kid? Yeah, it's an enhancer. It's going to make them more lazy.
Well,
right?
When cannabis, your endocannabinoid system is supposed to be like help you reach the homeostasis. Wow.
Allostasis. Actually, so I'm blanking on his name. Herbalist, botanical person was saying that homeostasis is kind of like even keel, nothing really happened. But allostasis is when you're being stressed, your body can help you deal with the stressor. So cannabis, it helps you with homeostasis, but also helps you with allostasis, helps you deal with the stressor, and helps you to deal with it better.
Just in his description of it, it was like, it makes a lot of sense in, you think of allostasis or homeostasis, whatever it is, your body achieving that state of normal, there's not a lot of shit going on, I don't have the pain, whatever, then whatever other medicine or plant that you're trying to introduce in to help with that healing or with whatever process, I think that sounds like it would be so much more effective, because then your body's not already fighting all of this other stuff going, hey, now I need to try and do that with this. It's going, well, hey, I'm at this base level of homeostasis. Now I'm okay, at least as far as this goes. So now I'm not having to try and do all this extra shit. I'm only doing this much, which I can handle because it's not going to put you out that much. Yeah. It makes way more sense when you do things in conjunction with that, to go, hey, I'm really trying to make this way more effective.
And with that said, though, it's not like, okay, just grab whatever you can get and, just toss it on top, right? It definitely is where this book I see is being extremely helpful for those who are not only just getting into cannabis, but as we know, many people who have used cannabis for 30, 40 years know absolutely nothing about the plant other than I get it from this guy.
And it gets me high.
Right. And when they start to look at it from a different lens and start realizing all of these other things, it almost is like the same thing that kind of goes along with all of us who get into it. You just do it, and then it becomes normalized for you, and then you start to notice things about it, right? And it's so nice to have a guide, if you will. This is a guide. I really like this. This is a map. This is a compass for you to be able to utilize.
With you showing how bookmarked yours was, it just makes me think of how much Jesse is continuously reading his Bible. And it makes me think of like, okay, well, if this is truly this healing, healthy thing of this is how you make your life better, why in the hell wouldn't you read it a ton of times and bookmark it and go back to it and go, oh, no, I really like this. Oh, hey, no, that was really impactful. Hey, I'm going to share this with someone because I know a million people with this same struggle.
I got to get a physical copy of this because that's what it would be.
Right.
It'll be and for those who listen to our podcast constantly, guys, don't even hesitate on this
I'll have
one.
the links below.
Get the book because
You can also see the QR code in the corner.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
She tripped me out when she moved her hands. I was like, oh, that's not her background because it looks so convincing. I was like, one, I need that background for my business calls. But no, this is so amazing. And I love where you guys all have this point of convergence where you're able to meet in the middle from all different backgrounds. You know, I've loved your story about your youth. I see everything in movies, and I was seeing you as a kid, and as the plant was hidden among like a tree, and you just go over to the bush and just like it looks like everything else, but he knew where it was. He knew the secret, right? And that's I saw this in my head, and Doc, I'm seeing you from young, just going, I don't know, all right, let's give it a shot, right? And then getting to your point now, where you know I have a lot of respect for you, professional respect, absolutely, and understanding that, in knowing that you had to overcome a lot of stigmatism within your own community, a lot of ostracization, and that just it's yeah, that's crazy. All of you guys have been able.
Man.
Yeah, you guys have all
soldier.
you guys really bring it together where this isn't something that can be written by one person. This has to be that, and I really respect us. We've read so many different things. Like I love learning about like how cannabis was effective within Egypt and how Napoleon didn't want his troops even using it because they didn't want to fight. They didn't want to push people around. And the Egyptian guard's like, hey, dude, you need to chill out, bro. Could you just have one of these? He's like, I will not have that, dude. Well, maybe we are doing the wrong thing. I don't know.
Seems to work.
Right? Why are we doing this thing to him? And why are we listening to this man?
Right?
Put that out. Get over here. Right? But it really, it's so unique. And to hear your guys' stories and background and to know that this thing that brings us together, this plant, this amazing plant, a great connector. You know, I often joke around when, especially when I like getting into, you know, theoretical ideas of ancient civilizations. You know, that's my Netflix and chill. And I often think about like, what if cannabis was that connector that helped everybody kind of unlock these things together and, you know, to understand like the geometries of the Great Pyramid to the pyramids down in everywhere, all over the world. It's just like, how do I not accept this amazing plant that was, for a very short time of human existence, has been seen as bad, you know? And it's so cool to see what you guys are doing to not only help that, I wouldn't even say normalized, being educated,
just a further education. And
because when we know, we don't fear. And this goes to where cannabis can be sold like McDonald's cheeseburgers, except way healthier, and it actually changes your life.
I was like, or like Trader Joe's or something.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And that's I applaud all of you for your
Give thanks.
Go.
We are very grateful for your educational series and for bringing so much knowledge to the community. We have a couple of free things that we offer. Can I tell you about them?
Yeah, I'd love to hear.
Okay, so if you go to our website, which is plantsforlife.com, and life is spelled with a Y.
We'll have the links below. You guys can click on those.
So plantsforlife.com, we have, first of all, we have something that maybe your community doesn't need, but for those who are new to cannabis, it's the beginner's guide to using cannabis in combination with a holistic lifestyle. So it might not be for your listeners, but it might be for your listener's aunt or grandmother. Or
we get all
else.
sorts of people who are new to cannabis coming. So
our age demographics.
And it's written by us, you know, the nurse, the doctor, and the herbalist. And so it's very concrete. It's not all woozy. And it talks a little bit about cannabis and how to use it and how to incorporate it into your life. So we wanted to make sure that you all knew about that. And being just in the holistic realm, if you're on our website and you go to our little store, we have free, it's in the store, but it's free. It's the top 5 botanicals for stress, sleep, and women's health. So please visit our website. We'd be happy to give away these products to you. And you can find out how to get our book there if you like as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Take care of
awesome.
your girl. Go get that, like,
Yes.
ladies thing.
Yes.
Yeah, shoot. I'm
That's
like, oh, I got to go learn about that.
You know, that's perfect. I mean, we have actually a pretty large female demographic that listens to us. And to speak to you as well on that one, you'd be surprised. Most of our listeners are, I mean, as young as like, I mean, there's some 21-year-olds and stuff like that, but it's mostly people who are
Mid-30s to 50 almost.
Yeah. Like I'm right there. I'm just a little shy of 50, and you know, I've seen a lot of that. Like even in my office, a guy who's in his 60s, he came out of his office one day frustrated. He's like, "Who's got weed?" And I'm like, I mean, you know, a friend in need is a friend indeed. Right. So I just say, "Hey, you want to go outside and talk for a second?" And now it's changed his life.
You know, that's the community that's not just looking to experiment with smoking, or even though that's all they may know.
Yeah.
But when they realize how much deeper this goes into healing, how much different delivery and modalities and ailments that they can treat with this holistically as part of a lifestyle, it's really, you know, groundbreaking. Those are the folks who, in that demographic there, who would be looking beyond just, you know, a spliff smoking to actually use it for,
my girlfriend has
grateful for that
endometriosis, and she has cramps from hell all the time. 2 days ago, I made her suppositories for the first time because 6 years ago, we bought some in Denver, and it seemed to really help. And I didn't think about it until just the other day, and she was like, "Oh my God," she was cramping so bad. And I'm like, I'm making balm. I know how to make all of this stuff. This is just another simple process.
Right.
And so I made her that, and it's just like, these are just ways that it can be utilized that is healing and so incredibly beneficial, but you're not smoking a joint, you're not rolling a spliff, you're not smoking a bowl even. Like there's so many other ways that you can utilize the plant to heal yourself or anyone else that you care about.
One of the top questions is, do I have to smoke it? Absolutely not. You can smear it, you can use it as a suppository, you can put it under your tongue, you can put it in your hair. I mean, you can do all kinds of things to absorb and to relieve your symptoms with cannabis and other botanicals as well. And so it's not all about smoking. In fact, smoking and inhaling, especially if you combust it, is not really medicinal. That's almost not the best. It is not what I would consider a medicine. If you're going to vaporize it, it should be vaping the whole plant and in a flower vaporizer. Like
which is what we use the volcano for.
Like, I get A+.
You talk about that
Good
too.
job.
Like
A+.
Historically, smoking is new to cannabis. You know, people have been eating it as balm for millennia. Yeah, and the ingestion of it. And smoking is pretty much in the history of cannabis a new phenomenon. That's 10,000 years where they've been using this junk in you know, ingesting it, balm topically inside of your ceremonial use for, you know, millennia. And smoking, even though, or inhalation delivery, is more for its fast acting delivery. That's your ER service from it, you know, because you know, ingested, you got pain relief and you want it now. You got spasmodic activity and it has to happen now. You know, you have anxiety.
Have it now.
Have it now. Right. Yeah. So smoking is a super fast acting delivery, but definitely not the most powerful and long lasting as a digestive delivery.
So
you know,
all
or
these
beneficial
different routes.
like a topical depending upon your ailment.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
Treating it like a medicine.
Yeah.
This has been amazing. Thank you guys so much for taking this time to come out of your day, share your story, and more importantly, sharing your knowledge.
Yeah.
Thank you all for having us. Thank you.
You know, this has been amazing. Everybody, you go down below, you're going to be able to find all those links. Get those free things over there. Order the book. Definitely get the book.
Go follow their stuff. Everything will be below.
All right, guys.
Tune in next week.
Take care.